how do you define elite with the quarterback position?
Ooh. How do I define elite?
I'll give you, for me, I always say it's people that can win with less. Guys like, one of the things that really impresses me about Deshaun Watson is his ability to win despite a bad offensive line at times, or Russell Wilson elevating an average roster in Seattle. Even on your podcast, the Bootleg podcast, you and EJ were like, would we take the Chiefs roster or the Seahawks roster? Pretty much as you go down the line, everything the Chiefs have in favor of the Seahawks, and that makes Russell more impressive to me. He can overcome bad. And I say it's kind of those top 3 or 4, sometimes it's 5 guys in the NFL. Is there a way, and you might not have it, is there a way you define elite?
Yeah, and there's a few different ways that you can. I think in terms of what differentiates great quarterbacks from good quarterbacks, it's being able to make plays out of nothing, and kind of elevate their coaching staff when their coaches, make a bad play call, or even when the defensive coordinator on the other team makes a great play call and the quarterback still makes it work. He makes his guys right. That I think is what makes an elite quarterback. I think it's the ability to compensate for less talent around the roster, even if they're making an absolute metric ton of money, like Russell Wilson. You give him a receiver like a receiver that maybe wasn't heralded coming out, like Doug Baldwin, or that people weren't super sure on, like DK Metcalf, but he still makes them produce at high levels. And really elevate a franchise far above the sum of its parts. Like, that's an elite quarterback that, again, no matter how much he's making and no matter how much money he siphons away from other positions, it's still worth it. There's maybe 4 of them in the league, between Mahomes, obviously, Russell. I would put Wentz in that category when you see the garbage cans that he dragged to the playoffs last year. Deshaun Watson, I think, is one of them. And he even has to overcome his coaching staff more than a lot of other guys. Even Lamar, I think, when you look at his growth from year 1 to year 2 and where I think he's going to be in year 3, I think he's going to be that kind of guy too. So,
have you seen Lamar's mechanics this offseason? I'm so sorry to cut you off. He looks way better.
It's every year, every week, even from week to week. He's improving. Like, he and Deshaun, from where they were at Clemson and Louisville respectively to where they are now, I don't remember seeing 2 young quarterbacks grow that fast. Like, Deshaun, even in his rookie preseason, compared to 4 weeks into the year when he's going toe-to-toe with Russell up in Seattle, they were 2 different quarterbacks. And Lamar, from year 2 to year 1, 2 different quarterbacks. So their accelerated rate of growth, and obviously Mahomes too, the accelerated rate of growth is highly abnormal. And I think that's why we look at them as either elite now or definitely will be elite quarterbacks in the next year or so, just because they get better faster than everybody else. And we have not seen the end of their development.
You had a great line in the Bootleg Football podcast. You said that, I believe in the first 12 starts, Patrick Mahomes reached Aaron Rodgers, and by his first 20 starts, he'd surpassed Aaron Rodgers. So the rate of progression was just so impressive to you, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, you remember watching Pat at Texas Tech.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's not the same guy. Like, we all like to pretend that people missed on Pat Mahomes, and it's like, if Pat Mahomes at Texas Tech was the Pat Mahomes now, it wouldn't be the same situation. He wouldn't be making $50 million a year. Like, that was not a great quarterback. No. He made a lot of flashy plays, but then when he got to Kansas City, he developed under Andy Reid. Even Mahomes admitted himself, like, he didn't really know how to read defenses until like halfway through last season. So he is growing so much faster than everybody could have ever predicted, except for maybe the Chiefs themselves. Based on the interviews they had with him pre-draft, which obviously I didn't interview him pre-draft. But he is mentally such a different quarterback, and I have said it multiple times. I did not give him the credit that he deserved for how fast he could develop mentally, and so that he's not just winging it all the time, and he's actually playing the position. So he's a different quarterback now than he was at Texas Tech. So, I stand by my evaluation of him in college, because that's what he was.
Yeah.
He's not the same guy now. And I all the credit in the world for Pat for growing, for Andy for developing him, for surrounding him with the right talent and the right system and everything like that. Like, they have created a monster out of clay, and it was one that I did not expect to see.